Hey lad, how you doing? My name is Wizard, and welcome to Amnesia The Bunker. I have not seen much content on this game, so I'm just gonna start doing my own thing here. What I intend to do is I intend to play on max runs, just to give a couple of examples on how this game plays, because of the roguelike element of this game with the sense of randomness. Plus, this game also excellently showcases what happens when you're in a combat scenario with an enemy that doesn't really care about you. So, let's get started. I'm gonna hit new game. I have other save slots that are generally geared towards me playing on my own time because I like the way this game plays. So we're just gonna go over easy. We're gonna overwrite the entire save file. This is the custom settings. Because I played the game before, I strongly suggest you play it on your own. But if not, this is more so towards just having an idea on what this game is like with much more difficult settings. Mainly because I like to challenge myself because I already felt that the big scary game is not hard enough. That's just me though. So, Shellshock. These are all the settings, and we're gonna make them even harder. And I will do a once over every time I do a Amnesia the Bunker session to show the settings before we just get into the gameplay. But first time for everything. So on Shellshock, the generated runtime per fuel item is short. The flashlight duration remains unchanged because not seeing sucks. The torch burn time is slightly reduced. The ammunition count is less than usual. Resource amount is moderate. It's slightly less than default, but it's okay. Traps are default. Saving costs fuel, which actually kind of sucks because that means you have to make that make or break decision of, do I want to use up a fuel that I got early in the game to have that peace of mind now, or should I continue to play cautiously, carefully later on? Either way, it brings up more interesting game decisions that is much more fun, in my opinion. It makes you question things a bit better, or at least different. Creative, creative thinking. There are other settings related to this one. It is from saving to having no saves at all, or saves being constant, as in static. You can always save whenever you get back to it, but saving costing fuel means that I have a way to ensure that my progress doesn't get deleted, and I could still have fun with this one because I'm not trying too hard. I'm just, first time for everything. But at the same time, I don't like that I have an easy way to just, oh, no, low consequence. I want my mistakes to have consequences because that's how I learn. Like, oh, shit, what could I have done better when I inevitably fuck up and die? Cool. Save lamp locations. I'll be honest, when I first played this game, I didn't know that the sub locations had different save locations. But because I didn't know that, I see this as like, well, peace of mind, sure. But it's like, there's only one default save spot in the game. Well, two technically, but realistically one, and it's whatever. The stalker presence is, on average for Shellshock, very high. The reactivity is very, very high, and the aggressiveness is also very high. Meaning, they will always be around, they will always react to everything that you do and detect you, and they are very aggressive once they spotted you. Once they've been hurt, they will either retreat or pause, but that duration is shortened by this gauge here. The lethality, if I'm gonna be honest, does not fucking matter. If you're face to face with the guy and you don't have at least max health or some way to stun him, he's just gonna break your face, and that's gonna be the end of the game. In Shellshock's exclusively, aside from custom settings, he doesn't retreat from bullets. That's okay, because bullets aren't the only things that repel him. Other settings include explosives are never retreating, which is fine. Bullet resistance, which applies if this setting is turned down to the other difficulty settings, which is fine. Increased stalker unpredictability. I don't know much to say about this one, but it means you have to be much more creative because you can't wait for them to leave because they don't want to. Now, this game also has rats. Oh no, French. With rats, they damage you and they're basically area denial, which is pretty annoying, but that's the point. So, in my opinion, if I see a rat thing, I see it as a one-way block that I'll have to get through at least twice. Because usually once you get past it, you can still make progress. But it's either you sacrifice your health to get through, or you burn a resource to get through, or you get rid of them outright by using heavy resources. For Shellshock, this is unchanged from damage to aggressiveness to how many they are. And late in the game, there is this other enemy this guy carries a shotgun, and it's really scary when this guy who is, blind and insane, reacts to your sound and shoots without consideration to it. So of course if you're gonna get shot, you're gonna get killed and then some. High lethal because I guess it's interesting that the game allows you to customize that. The initial inventory size is a very creative setting to change around. The more inventory spaces you have, the less trips you need to do. Having less slots makes it so you need to pick and choose what you can and can't carry, which equates to a lot more trips, which equates to a lot less risk taking, because you need to ensure that whatever you're carrying, you're gonna use. Otherwise, you can't pick up something useful, you can't pick up a key item, and you're shit out of luck. Game paused in inventory. This setting is designed particularly for people that do not handle scary games very well. Honestly, this is an excellent setting because, oh no, big bad is in front of me, I'm scared. I hit escape and now I'm suddenly safe. No. Deal with the problem. Deal with the problem in front of you. You're gonna die if you don't react to it. Hardcore health system. Upon taking damage, you bleed. You can remedy this by bandaging up said damage, but you won't die from the bleeding damage. But you will be left on 1 health, or the next instance of damage will kill you if you're noticeably moving really sluggishly. Medkits will always fully restore you because they come with funny juice that makes you super strong. Player health regeneration is enabled by default, but Shellshock and higher, you don't regenerate health only through medkits, so better make sure that any damage you take won't be permanent, otherwise the rats will kill you before the stalker does. Grenade player damage radius. That makes grenades much more effective within its range, that's pretty obvious. But grenade go boom, and gotta be super careful when grenade go boom. Player damage from gas and fire. Usually you can escape with 1 to 2 hits of damage from this thing, but just because you can doesn't mean you should. If you know you can take it, cool, you can keep yourself safe. If you can't, well, then just hope that the next tick won't kill you. Fuses and fuse boxes. Those are actually... they're really weird, but it makes sense in the fact that there's this concept for the generator that, okay, if we have this generator that powers an entire bunker, how do we change the difficulty dynamically to make more important decisions matter? If the generator runs out of fuel, the entire bunker's power goes out. But just because you have the generator running does not mean the entire bunker has power. The fuse boxes are also mitigators for where that power goes. I do wish that they would introduce like a power strain system, but that is an extremely absurd idea that would be really fun to play with, but for now, let's just work with what we got. The fuses are required to power a certain area. The harder part is actually finding the damn things, because this invites you to search more than usual, to take things more slowly than possible, because it is difficult to make progress only to remember, shit, the generator's on, but there's no power in the area I need to go. Therefore, I need to either stop the power to preserve it, or find a fuse and then initiate in time. By default, there's one at least if the setting is enabled. Reduced safe room. There is a safe room that you get introduced in the very beginning of the game. Reduced reduces that size from the whole safe room to just the generator room exclusively. Because of that, when you're being chased and you're unable to close the door behind you, make sure the door you're closing is metal. Otherwise, you're going to get your face snatched off. Revolver in locker. On normal games, you would spawn, a guy gives you a revolver and he dies. That's shown in the intro. That's not really spoiler heavy because this game doesn't have a lot of story unless you're really into the story. But this changes it so that you don't have your revolver at the beginning of the game. You gotta find it, which makes everything early game till you get it a lot more difficult. Randomized locker locations makes it so that the locker, the storage room where all the lockers are inside the map, are actually in different locations and different sub-levels of the bunker, which makes it much harder to get the good resources sooner, but can also do the inverse. We could get like a really good resource like the shotgun and maybe 2 shells to take care of 2 doors and maybe 1 encounter. There is an infinite fuel storage for saving purposes and for other Molotov-based reasons. The fuel storage code lock is exclusive to Shellshock because you need to find a specific dog tag not shown in normal gameplay so that you can unlock the damn thing that may or may not be booby-trapped because these guys are paranoid, so that you can actually unlock infinite fuel, which is your best chance to escape the bunker with your life intact. And then there's the typical fire duration and gas duration, because we both have fire grenades and gas grenades. This is World War I after all. So we're on Shellshock. I'm gonna now change the settings and we're gonna see how that goes. So we'll have it from minimum, the torch burn time to very short. We'll have the ammo to minimum, resource amount. We'll just do min max and see how everything goes, because why not? Let's figure it out together. Traps max. Oh, where did we go? Traps max. Saving cost fuel. Sure, we'll keep that default because I'm not really doing this for myself. I would love to challenge myself, maybe record that, but let's pick it up from here. Saving cost fuel. Default locations, because I'm used to that. We'll make this stalker always around with minimal downtime. The lethality is always high because it doesn't matter. I'll leave never retreat on because I want to figure out a way to see if I can purposefully move the stalker somewhere else so that I can get around in specific situations. I know what I'm talking about, but I will be able to show you a little later. Rat damage is high. Aggressiveness is high. Corpse bound is high. Shotgunner reactivity high. Lethality high. We'll keep the default 6 slots because 3 is hard to work with. Well, whatever. No, we're gonna do 3. Game pause inventory, hardcore health system, health regen, stupid damage and explosive radius. Oh, I can actually have none of these. Cool. We're gonna start with none. We'll see from there. Reduced safe room, rock. Yeah, and then I'll keep the fire for long and gas for long because having the long duration does 2 things. It creates area denial between you and threat. So, pretty cool. So we have, double checking one last time, we have min-max settings, which is pretty cool. And we're going to continue. Because this is a new save file, I dislike hints, I dislike game pausing hints, subtitles are necessary, and vibration is cool, but I rely more on sound cues. Mic around a little bit. I'm eating soup. You guys love soup? I love soup. Got chicken noodle soup. Reminds me of Hometown Buffet. You guys remember Hometown Buffet? God, I haven't been there in years. They had like a really good pizza and really good pastas and stuff in there. It always felt like home going there. I wonder if the one where I used to live is still open or not, but I don't know. Maybe I'll go back there like someday when I have a bit more money. No. Hell, I don't know. Maybe I can go there this weekend. See if it's still up. Cool. Oh no! We're French! Man. I won't lie to you, I think the head hurts. So, in World War I, these people often slept in cots in these bunkers, which is super dark because we're underground. That's kind of how it was in World War I, no man's land and everything. Just checking everything. So in the original story, this guy, he deceives this other guy by lying to him. Oh, that's cool. He deceives this other guy by lying to him about, oh man, I don't want to go on patrol, you go on patrol. And so he tricks him. And, oh fuck, no, I gotta go on patrol. And then he gets injured because of this guy's lies. And it's like, oh no, I can't believe I did that to him. Except, because of his guilt, this guy goes to save him. And because he tries to save him, he inadvertently gets himself into trouble because, oh fuck, my best friend, he's like dying in a crater. Let me give them this mysterious ass fucking water I found and see what happens. Oh, we picked up a gas can. This is actually a good hint on the what is that? Petrol? Yeah, that's pretty good hint on petrol. So, yeah. We have our thing. I don't believe there's anything else important to really grab. But I'm just trying to double check anything on the offhand chance anything spawns that we could use. Because just because the resource count is minimum doesn't mean that you shouldn't look. You gotta look for everything you can use to survive. So here's where the guy died. Get wrecked. I missed him. Anyway. Comment down below if you know where the pantry is. So with the flashlight, two poles gets the full charge, 3 keeps that duration up. But 1 charge gives 3 seconds, 2 charges gives about 12 to 27, 23? I could be wrong. It's somewhere in the 20-second range. As soon as you pass that door, the stalker spawns, and you are on your own. Admin? I like to shut the door just because I hear the noise doesn't mean I'm in danger, but why train yourself in habits? So here's the save lamp. It's a pretty funny looking lamp. I don't even know how this thing opens, but whatever. So here's the map. So if I can, how the hell do I zoom in? Might be a little bit silly. Cool. So we spotted the secret when we went around to med storage, to Doc's office. We saw doorways that didn't actually exist, which is pretty funny. From there, we're an admin, so we have this entire loop, which is pretty useful in case we're being chased or spotted. So we need to figure out how to exit. The exit's right there, but the exit's blocked because, well, I wonder where everyone else is. Why is there a monster here? So first things first, we need to get the valve from mission storage, but we need the code to find it, which is found in the officer's quarters, specifically by Delist. Or by the lounge, actually. Lounge into Delist's room, and then we could circle back around through this part to admin. And after doing that, we can head to the locker room, see what's there, see what isn't, and figure it out from there. Now, because this place is likely going to be filled with a bunch of traps, I am going to try to plan around it. Plan around it by trying to make sure what traps is where, and can I use it later in case if shit hits the fan. After all of that, let's see. Let's do that. Look around. We have a Resident Evil ass chest, which is cool. I don't know why chests could have ass. You guys know that? Just imagine if you were like in a horror scenario and the best you can leave calm is to just try to talk to yourself as if, you know, you're not really calm. That's why I think I'm able to keep my nerves of steel in this case, because it's like, think about it. You're this young French guy who's fighting a war for a cause that he probably doesn't fully understand, and he wakes up after being, nah, I don't want to do my job. And then gets his friend killed. Oh, this is the kill to leave. Got wrecked. Can I take that from you? I can't. Skill issue, dude. Honestly, would not have bled out like that. So here's the generator here. Add fuel. That's too part of it. So if I genuinely remember, this is at least, what, 5-6 minutes of power? So I'm gonna keep this off on purpose. I don't see a reason to save when the game just started, because like the opening is always gonna be the same. Everything else after, once you get here, is genuinely different. That's the point. So now we can check our inventory. Look, we have a hand. Hello, hand. So the code for this guy, for low, Q for low, 8968. Now we genuinely have a safe spot to come back to. Let me unlock both doors, just so it's easier for me to go back. I don't need the pocket watch, mainly because I'm not actively using the power for it, which is its only purpose right now. Check over here to see if there's anything that lucky that might have spawned. Neat. Perfect. This is good for getting past at least the rat pile once. Here's the detonator thing for the charge of TNT. And you can still hear the horrors of war actually being fought outside. Crazy. So this door is blocked by this thing. I like to move it out of the way. Out of the way right over here. Get to pull this thing down because power. This opens up another loop, which we can use later. Double check that that's down. So right over there, there's not rats here, nor is there here. We're actually pretty lucky with this instance. Usually there's rats on both sides. You ever see a cloth on the ground, know that a corpse could spawn by, and a dog tag. Dog tags are useful for the mission storage. There's gas here, but this thing's not booby trapped just yet. And there's also not a tracker, which is pretty cool. Didn't I put this to maximum? There you go, that's true. So we have a box here. I'm gonna purposefully push it carefully to give me a bit of leeway for this specific spot. These cracks in the wall is where the stalker could spawn. You block it appropriately with either an explosive, a gas can, or a box, and it delays the stalker for a little bit longer. That kind of sucks, actually. Well, that's kind of... I didn't know that my hands were so strong to break, like, dense metal. Look, a rat. I don't like that this table's here. Let's get this fast. Alright. So, I'm not really worried that I heard a growl because this is, in my opinion, scripted. Because it does trigger like a noise for him to react to, but it's not enough to get him out. It just kind of lets him know like, oh, hey, I'm here now. Start doing things, I guess. I always like this type of game where it's cat and mouse, and I kind of like, you know, being chased and shit. Like seeing what I can do to outsmart being pursued. Fun for me, honestly, but I guess for other people it's not so fun. Okay, we have a cloth. I'm gonna leave that there because we know where it is, and we only have one extra slot. So specific boxes like these, a few of them actually have items inside if you break them. The question is how to break them. This is an explosive barrel. The traditional red barrel red. Miller. This is useful. We found the fuel code early. How do I know this? Because Miller is never one of the locker combinations. It's always the fuel combination. My name is H. Clement. Cool. And Eau Claire has a med kit and a revolver bullet. So we need to find the Lisile. The list. Well, I'm really bad at pronouncing French. Someone get French. Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, so we need the lockdown wheel to get the thing over there. Fortin has the shotgun, so you can get this early if you don't kill the shotgunner later in the game. Because if I have a really powerful firearm, odds are that someone else has it too. But apparently they don't know how to use it properly, because look at this guy. He's gonna play. Yeah, we know what's here. We have a guy who has a pocket bag that's extra space. A guy who has a shotgun. Another shell for the guy late in the game, so you have a guaranteed shell. We have the specialized wrench. I know how to unlock this. I will explain that later. H. Clement, which is this specific character that we're playing as, the Frenchman. 2 guaranteed bullets and a bit of lore, and Eau Claire, which has a med kit and a couple revolver bullets. There is a gas mask and a lighter, like somewhere, but the lockers are obviously not here, so they're clearly somewhere else. So because this isn't an Amnesia game, the physics does matter a bit. Because if there's too much shit on the ground, your character can't smoothly walk over it. But props moving around does pose a risk of making sound. Like he's scraping this barrel. This doesn't make a lot of sound, but it might add up to arouse the monster's attention. So I'm going to purposely keep this here while it's in view. I'm going to go back, grab the cloth, and leave it in towards the storage unit because we know it's here. Now we can leave it. Still have time. We haven't triggered a scripted chase sequence yet, which is perfectly okay. See, notice how despite the odds seeming like it's really hard, it's really not, because I'm slowly mapping out the area of what room has what, so that when it does matter, when the power is on, then I can utilize that time to my advantage to the moments I need it the most. See, this is tripwire with a flare and a bit of fuel. This is an excellent blocker that blocks the trail between from admin to arsenal. Try not to trip this. And now we have power leading to arsenal. So now walking past this doorway triggers the first spawn. However, there is a way to kind of breeze through this by just completely rushing the entire thing, because monster still has to take time to arrive and to emerge. And we know that from the map, the door required to find the thing that we need is 3 doors down. But the door is locked, so we need to go, well, it's 4 doors down, but the door is locked, so we need to go 3 doors down. There's a connection between lounge to the guy's fucking room. I'm not really gonna pronounce his name again. There is a tunnel between room, and that's perfectly fine. Once he spawns, he will likely trip a couple traps because of how frequent they are. Every door has a risk of it being trapped. It will tell you if you look hard enough for it. After all of that, we can grab the thing, wait till he's distracted or moves away, circle back around through this long hallway, unlock the door that's actually locked in the beginning of the game, and cycle back safely through admin, go to the gen room, wait till things cool down, and then go back out again. We're essentially operating like a cat, because you are loud when you are trying to be quiet. And notice, like, from here, I'm gonna start sprinting. It's the 3rd door. Do some weird mouse movement to air strafe, and now I'm in here. And you will spawn behind me. One, fucking bag. And he trips something. There's a trap right here. You know that this thing's trapped, and that's a good mini trap. That's all. So I will open this and close it behind me. Now it is blocked by the steel door, but it is unblocked. And now we are technically safe from this first encounter. I have tried many times to do that seamlessly on a save file that had no deaths, or a save file that resets per death. And it took a very long time to actually figure out that route. The routing it took to, okay, if this happens because of that, what happens if I do this? Oh. Yeah. So now we have a force select because if you pick up that pocket. He's still around, but I'm not worried because I'm not making too much sense. There are other games where your mic basically makes the sound, which is fine, but like, I'm doing this for a YouTube video, and I kind of want to have fun with it. I want to be like, oh, I'm presenting this because I found this to be cool, and I would like somebody to tell me, you know. like to think that I'm creating my own platform where I get to gush about these little things I find in life and have fun. I'm entering back in here to see if there's any other traps or things of importance. Jobert, which usually has very little in his room, has a flare trap. Noted. Blanchett, which has a grenade trap, highly dangerous. This does not look like a trap, but it's usually locked. Usually. Just because a door has a lock on it doesn't mean it's safe. Door's made of wood. Guy can break wood. Be afraid of man that breaks wood. That is a rat spawn. How do I know this? It's small. Smaller than Mr. Chair. Sometimes I really miss the old school shit that PewDiePie does. But, hell, people grow, and I want to do my own type of content that I loved from back then. This does nothing, by the way. I'm just kind of trying to keep my nerves cool while I'm trying to just play this super scary game. Whoa. These French people are weird. I shouldn't say that, though. I've not met a French person. I would like to meet a French person. I want to get to know a French person. I think that'd be super cool. So, made a mistake. The consequences of our actions are coming back for us. They didn't like us talking bad about the French. So I'm gonna preemptively lock this door, and then the other one, and I'm gonna walk towards the gym. So, like I said prior, feeling the flashlight actually makes noise, but the flashlight being on feels like it doesn't make a lot of noise. Like it's an idle whirring that doesn't feel too impactful, and that is okay. The walking is also fine because you could crouch the entire time, but you're going a lot slower and you don't need to be so tense. But it doesn't hurt to do that, especially if you're in an instance where you don't have your flashlight and you kind of just gotta make sure you can see. Just because you don't have your flashlight doesn't mean that you can't see. You can slightly see the stuff around you when your eyes adjust. Not many people know that for some reason. Or maybe they do. See, I know that I'm safe when the music changes because it has the signature safer music that lets you know, like, this place is safe, you can calm down, it's okay, and it makes you reluctant as hell to leave it. But you know that no matter what, if you want to live, you gotta go back out there. And it's scary, but sometimes you gotta do it, and that's okay. We unlock this one, we unlock this other one. I don't know what I should call this. Long talk? I don't know. I kind of like long ramble. That's mostly what this is. It's mostly just a bunch of thought processes smushed together. What's that? Something changes? Oh, look, the door's gone. Oh, no, it's open. He probably... I don't know where he went, but nothing's really damaged nor destroyed. But he did spawn. I didn't get spotted, but he did spawn. Try your best not to make more than 2-3 instances of noise. So this is a trap door noticed by the X. And by this grenade. You can actually get that grenade if you have the bolt cutters, which you don't get till a little while later in the game. Okay. Now, if you want to make things a little bit more fun, just imagine the monster like it's a woman trying to like hunt you down to give you a hug. That way the monster doesn't seem as scary. If you personify the monster, it's not really a monster. Like, it is whatever you reimagined it to be. If you believe that what is chasing you is scary, then you're always going to be afraid of it. But if you learn to change how you perceive it, how you think about it, it's out, it's like, I'm going to trip this guy. That's a loud explosion, but I was hoping it was gas. So realistically, I'm just going back there to see if there's anything else I can pick up. But because he's likely out, and I exploded that thing, I'm gonna go to the mission storage, and then I'm going to reuse the code that I have found here. So it's 5991. Now, my general rule of thumb for saving is if you kind of have an idea on the path ahead is and you're confident to do it, then by all means. But do not be overconfident in your abilities. You could have your run wiped at any moment, and that's just how the game's work. So now that I have this thing, and this thing's broken, and this thing's safe, I can confidently put this thing here. He's still walking. See, I can lean with the Q and E keys to kind of peer on corners without like, overextending my body to see. Try to use as much peripheral vision as possible. And now they're moving. You can tell by the ceiling stuff. Because we didn't do anything that attracted noise, there's no reason to investigate. This does not count as noise, at least noise that you make. Noise that you make is much more important than global ambient noise. You hear this weird droning sound when he's present, that is okay. The longer you're in it, the more accustomed you will be to it. Remember this tripwire. So now that I know that the threat is around and may or may not come around, now I believe is the best time I should attempt to save. So, what do? I gotta find a gas can and a means to save. There generally is a guaranteed gas can by the end of the maintenance halls at the end of the officers' quarters. So let's try to go over there, and we'll see from there. Need a bit of light to see because it doesn't hurt to get a better view to try to get ahead of the fog of war. Or the darkness that surrounds it. Now we're back here. There's always a risk that he could respawn if we make too much noise. Okay. Now they're perfectly in my way, so I need to retreat. I'm not running because that would attract more noise, but I'm also trying not to take too much time walking away to be spotted line of sight with us. So what do? Since I know where they are, I'm going to head to a sub-level. Heading to a sub-level forcibly respawns the monster, which low-key kind of sucks, but what can you do? The limitations of programming and coding. Maybe rendering everything is kind of hard on the computer. You never know. So after I jumped over the grenade, I will save this for later on the offhand chance I need it. But I need to remember that it's there. Otherwise, that grenade could be the very thing that kills me. So now we just reloaded into a new area. We are now in the soldiers' quarters. Not the officers' quarters, the soldiers' quarters. And this is the first fuse box you see. Pretty simple. Put fuse in there, pull lever. Note if you need the information. He's nearby. Not. Most of these doors are blocked and need to be broken by various means. Long hallway, he's either right. He's neither right nor left, but he's down the hall. We're to carefully. Is this just a sound cue? So we turn on this first daisy chain power. These things were called daisy chains back in the day. They kind of are links to power, which is how you keep the entire place on. Let's move it. Where? Wide pantry area. He's by the mess hall area. Cool. Both doors are actually locked. I believe this door is trapped. No? Yeah, this door is trapped. This door is also trapped. This door is guaranteed locked, so is this one. So I don't need to worry about accidentally blowing myself up here, which is fine. We inactivate this one. Sometimes there's a tripwire here. It sucks when that happens, but useful when it is. So we need to go to the comms so we can get a code in particular. There's a fire trap here, good for air denial, and the same thing over there. You can run and jump over these things. See how I did that blind is because I was confident. I believed that I trusted my momentum of where I was going, that I would land safely, and I didn't stop. How you mitigate pain is positive affirmations in negative situations. That's what pains. Pains is literally that acronym. I hope you enjoyed that because I'm pretty sure I either imagined it or I saw it from somewhere else. Feel free to do with that as you will. So here, there's a security. Getting in here tells you where the key is, but the key is never in there because this game doesn't like to play fair. That's okay. Neither do I. G off. So typically there is a set of randomly generated names. I believe I have time to get away with this. There's a set of randomly generated names that could be on that note, but the names are always static / consistent. So if you look for the specific bunk beds and do thorough checks on where it is, you might find the key without really needing to find the note. So you can learn your environment by not really needing to read anything. He broke something, but it wasn't an explosion. He is either across from me, but he won't get closer. He might trip one of the explosive doors, or at least one of the traps. That's a big might. They're past the hallway, not in front of me. How do I know? Is because I can gauge how close the heartbeat sound is. It should now be behind me. I'm trying to make myself as stealthy as possible. I mean, corner limits LS, line of sight. Not an accurate one. Watching both sides to know which way to move. Now moving toward me. Stay on this side. Using line of sight blockers to keep ourselves safe. If the monster can't investigate or activate who we are, they will eventually lose interest and investigate. Sometimes you will need to carefully move around to avoid being spotted. That way the monster believes that those checks have been checked out. Just back up, and they're gonna meet someone else, or come back out. Keep your shit cool, keep your shit calm, and that's how you overcome. We found the guy who has the gas mask. This is super useful for gas traps and gas cans alike. Luckily that he came and tripped the fire trap so the rats went away, and that he correctly investigated, decided, I'm gonna leave and come back, see if anything changed. Nothing changed? Cool. Then they leave. We found the gun early. However, we need the code from Travers. Let's come back. Better leave. Notice I still haven't saved yet, but I still made a lot of progress despite it. I have a sound distraction and a rat distraction, but I'm going to leave to attempt to reset him. This is known, well, I like to dub this as like manipulating the spawns to have an easier time to reset, to give a fresh start when re-entering the area. Just because you leave it though doesn't mean that the monster can't be smart as well and respawn itself outside. But because of that buffer and delay, it's okay to do this because, you know, this is how the game was made, therefore this is how the game was played. If the game was still made with an omnipresent monster, this game would be a lot more difficult. But I think this is a limitation that is perfectly okay because the monster doesn't play fair, neither should you. Because you can only play fair with what you've got. The monster doesn't have anything. But you have your wits, and you have your steel. He spawns behind me. Let's be out of line of sight. Try to look for something if I can. And stick to the edges. There's a grenade spawn here. Let's put our lights. Walk into the dark by this doorway. need to use the light here so I can see accurately where the tripwire is. Now that I do, my eyes adjust. I run and jump, and now I'm back over here. Odds are the store is open or broken. It's open. Here's a grate for later if we get that wrench for cool shit. It's all about keeping track of what can I come back here later. More often than not, you operate as a scout, surveying the area, but being wary of damage and threats. Once you formulate a plan and understand your surroundings, you regroup, reassess, and plan from there. Good. This is my luck. So I'm going to go underneath the bed, because if you are careful enough, the monster actually can't see you. If you're still and make minimal noise as possible. Just because you see the monster doesn't mean it sees you. He's now walking around the corner and going towards the mess. Wait a little longer. So we're sure that we can sense that he's definitely past that hallway. Get used to seeing without your light. You wish to minimize noise as much as possible. You can take risks to see a bit further, but you don't always need to see what's in front of you to have the answer. He blew up something. That means he will be in frenzy and he won't directly spot me if I'm in his line of sight. I will unlock this, which is a grenade, so I need to be wary if he breaks it down later. Read this while you can. Audio noise. Don't think about that. I'm crouching here because there's always a risk of a trap being down these hallways. And I would rather be safer to see it than trip it and die. So he did blow up a door. This does not have rats in this corridor. For no reason, there's rats in this corridor, and it's always annoying because this is a hard choke point. There's a tripwire here. I spotted because I was going slow. This door is open, but something else exploded. Let's figure out what. This exploded, but this locked. Okay, so this door exploded, but I still need to break that lock. There's a couple ways we can do it. Either with the gun, which is loud as hell, but the quickest. Or with the brick, which is not as loud, but the slowest. Or a grenade, which is equally both loud and quick. But we don't have many of those. Just double checking for idle supplies. He blew up another explosive, likely the one by the second part of the mess hall, or the barracks where the soldiers sleep. I'm still looking through here, but I'm looking through here in this specific way because it loops towards the mess hall, which is also locked. So let me unlock the mess hall, which has a fire trap in it. Very useful to know. We are decently far from the monster, so we're not too risk of making too much noise, which is why I can freely use the light here. This sometimes has stuff in it. I don't always have the means to break it. We have a gas canister here, perfect for area denial, if we need it, but its location is not too preferable, so we will leave it. So we will remember that it's there. The mess hall, more often than not, has bottles, which is good for distractions. It might spawn here. So you can hide in the closet, perfectly safe. Kind of just read the notes, just to kind of keep yourself sane, a little bit occupied, and it'll eventually go away. Or, you know, you could be killed, and that could be the end of it. But I didn't make a lot of noise coming in here. There's a little risk that he might investigate that, but you never know. Just because you're thorough doesn't mean that they're also thorough. But that's why you have to improvise and adapt. Be okay with abandoning your original strategy and employing a new He's still present. I don't hear him, so I'm going to move away. And like that, we're safe. You have to kind of behave and think like a cat. Cautious at loud noises and scary things, but trying to investigate what it is without risking yourself entirely. So over here is a hidden grate with some other cool shit. There's also very little bottles due to the previous settings I've employed, but we can come back here. I don't need to move anything here because I don't see the point in making noise here. But we know that it's there. So he might be in the main hallway, just gauging on how far the heartbeat started, which means his terror radius for Dead by Daylight is close. But at the same time, we still lack the means of exploding anything. And all we have is a sound distraction and a rat distraction. But I do believe I have a grenade in spawn, but I can go back to it. However, I have not found an ounce of fuel yet. Is this a big deal? Yes and no. I haven't found anything I can save with because I already burned my 2 save uses on the generator, which you're required to use at least once to leave the game. Or to, you know, enable your way out of here. Let me think of a plan, an idea on how to maneuver our way back. Because there's nothing else for us here. But the path towards here is clear. That's a gas grenade. Perfect. Oh, I have to go over the tripwire. That is okay. See, even short hops, if done with confidence, you can still make it through. If it doesn't, you still have a 1.5 seconds to react and to run away. Grenades don't explode immediately. You have at least 3 to 5 seconds. Oh, we found the perfect thing. We have a brick. The tutorial teaches you that you can use bricks to destroy wooden objects, and that also goes for locks. But we need to remember where the tripwire is, because we still have to carefully put it over. You might be wondering, oh, well, why don't I just take the brick with me everywhere? Yes, but you see, the brick has a limited use. He spots me. He knows where I'm going to be, so let's make this easier. Let's leave the brick here. We know where it is. Get the gas and run the other way. That way he's deterred and he doesn't move. When you're spotted, accept that you're spotted and play living. Be okay with abandoning everything. Don't need to take it to an extreme, but if you really feel that you don't have anything that is worth saving or dying for, you can always retreat and go back. So I found the actual map of the soldiers' quarters. I did all of this blindly without being able to break this door. Reason is, there's a spawn close to here that discourages me from breaking it early. So I decided to map it out myself while being able to peer through the window to understand the layout. Moving. Let's head upstairs. We're guaranteed a safe. To check our inventory, we just have the fuse. That I would sense in. So we're going to put the fuse here to guarantee that the next time we turn on power, the communications room can give us the code to Arsenal to get the dynamite needed to leave. I'm only retreating just to double check what I have in my inventory, knowing that I have to come back here anyway. I'm gonna wait for the icon to kind of finish, because I'm still recording and I'm unsure how my PC can handle it, but we're handling it fine. I want to jump over. We triggered a noise. Walk carefully and as quickly as possible. Once we know that we're safe, we'll check our inventory, double check what we have and what we don't. We allow any opening for ourselves, that's how we get caught off guard and inevitably mauled to shreds. So we have 2 rat distractions, a bottle, or a potential Molotov cocktail. Cool, we still don't have generator fuel, so I still can't save. Interesting. Does that make a difference? No, because I'm still going to keep playing as if I am still doing a deathless run, because that's what this is. If I die, I have to do all this shit all over again. And I would like to play until the first save just to get this episode out, and I think that's perfectly fine. Alright, now that we've regrouped, we've taken a breath, literal breath, now we can reevaluate on what needs doing. So back into, this is the soldiers' quarters. It's the exact same layout as I've specified via barracks A, barracks B. The break room, we need to head to the util room to flick the last daisy switch chain that powers the communications room. But the game technically doesn't lie to you by saying you need to go to security to find the key. But the key isn't actually in security, but the note in security tells you who has the key, so you have to figure out who in the barracks is the associated name for where the key goes, and it's a bunch of deconstructing and stuff. Alright, the door's closed. I'm fine. So, realistically, I could skip that step by just simply finding the key and unlocking it. Then I can ensure all the daisy switches are down, leave, turn on the power as fast as possible, haul ass back over here, learn the code, and then turn the power back off. We want to be 100% sure that we have the code and we know what it is, so that we can head into Arsenal later and get what we need from there. But after this, once you have the code, we need to backtrack towards maintenance to get another tool to progress. That's kind of the general flow of the plan. It's a bunch of, you need this specific thing, but it's creative on how you get it. But it doesn't matter how you get it, as long as you get the thing. Job's not finished, as a few of my friends used to say. As much as I love to have fun, job's not finished. Job's not finished. So, you lock in, job's not finished. You keep going. Let's double check for that gas thing. I want to know that it's there. Usually there's a guaranteed spawn. Let's walk in here very carefully. See if they're around her. There's a couple of other doors I haven't checked, but they're usually with extra stuff that doesn't really need all those things. We have an upside and a downside. Upside, traps here are gone. Downside, rats on both sides. Guaranteed gas here, but this is a corpse that usually is sponsored with guaranteed gas. Making the rats aggressive increases the radius of where they will actually make noise. This creates a noise weight that triggers the monster to spawn. They're like the spies from the shadows, so be careful with that. Because I heard him spawn, I retreated carefully and I come back here. Now, just because I have my saving resource doesn't mean I'm going to use it directly. I'm going to actually reserve this for later, because I believe that I can still get access to the code and have the daisy chain done, so that I can save and then do a test run for the power, probably die doing it, and then end the episode there. Because I've been recording for, I want to say, however long. I don't know, this feels about an hour, maybe longer. But I'm genuinely having fun. Like, I like explaining the stuff that I do, my thought process, because it's a bunch of reasoning stuff that also makes sense to me. This is me trying to explain survival at any means necessary, because you have a threat that is not going to hesitate to kill you if it sees you. Getting one good look at the map. We're at the clerk's office, which you can clearly see, but we need to find the key to find another thing. We have a bit of leeway before we start attracting some real trouble. Let's check the left room and check all the bunks just to see where it is. This is removing the unnecessary act of figuring out who it is when I could just check all the beds to see if there's anything useful there. Matter of being thorough. Underneath the bed so that it is less likely of impacting me if I'm ever being chased back here. Planning ahead for future chases if they happen. Spawn, they can make a bit of noise. Time. spotted probably. Barely. Carefully walk, carefully walk. Walking, walking. Because if I react loudly to it, it's going to create a noise and they're going to immediately hear it and sprint after it. Keeping your cool is how you do anything. See, I made it far. What feels like a lot of progress. I'm still unscathed, but I'm still playing cautiously. The way you learn about things is not by like speeding up. It's actually by slowing it down and breaking things down step by step by step. And I think that's a perfectly acceptable way of learning, because sometimes you really do got to break things down level by level to really build things up, because it's just the same concept with a little bit more added onto it. That's what survival basically is. But survival isn't always just pain and suffering. Why not have fun with it? Why not make the surviving worthwhile? So that noise indicates he went back into the tunnels. That doesn't mean he's out around me, but he's near me. I'm just waiting a little further. I hear a flicker indicator that signifies me where he is, so I'm going to head back down. They're moving, but they're in the tunnels. Let's get 2 charges in. And keep walking. We have about 25 seconds of light. We investigated most of the beds on the left side. Is that left or right? It's behind me. We still need to stay in this area, unfortunately, because we still haven't found the key. So it's likely over there in that corner or in the first room. We narrowed it down little by little. And we're not really losing anything by this entire encounter. We are learning a little bit more as we go. No, like, any amount of knowledge is something gained, and that's not time wasted. You're still learning about your environment, and that's perfectly okay. You're learning about what's different, what's the same, what's checked out, and what needs checking. I'm trying to make this easier next time I come in, because I will come in here. This brick is useful, but just because I have it doesn't mean I don't have the key. I need the key. The light, see the props. Or whatever the hell you describe these things, gives. So there's a spawn here, so there's a risk that like that. I smartly assessed the situation. I decided to leave. Once I recognized that, okay, I might be making too much noise here by dragging the props around, let's be safe. We also don't have Tavers' code. Better yet, continue to look on this side because we have everything in place to get one half of this puzzle done. It's just trying to stay alive long enough to ensure that our progress isn't wasted. By checking every nook and cranny we find, whatever difference we find, because you don't really need to trigger the game to tell you, hey, you gotta get a key. You kind of already know that you gotta get a key. So the beds that are covered, you don't gotta worry about. They're covered. Don't worry about them. You can't even use them. They're useless to you. They're just good line of sight blockers. So this narrows it down. It's likely in the bottom or the furthest corner where that grate is. The other one. He's approaching here though. Double checking. You could hide under this stuff. It isn't that useful though, because this is a one-way. Oh, but he did break this. Cool. The monster could sometimes break things if they're in a frenzy or scared or something. So take the opportunity now. Open this. Grab the note. Like I was correct, the key is never in here. It's only just the note that tells you where it is. So, because we looked on our own, it's never too wrong to have the help. It's always okay to ask for information when you need it, which points you in the right direction. So this guy, I don't know what indentation is that, because I don't believe the word sergeant has a D in it. Quint has our key, so we need to look for the name Quint wherever the fuck he is. See, I swear a lot because I think it's funny. I have an issue with that. Skill issue. Everyone swears. I don't know. Like, I like swearing. I think it's really funny. Because, like, oh man, we really designated these specific words to be quote unquote bad, but like they're not really bad. It's just like a kind of a joke thing. I'm autistically explaining humor because a lot of people don't have it. For some reason. It's like humor is pretty much joking about the absurdity of something. Like, I'm not downplaying the situation because this is actually, in a real life scenario, this is a high stress situation where you are the last person alive. He's going. Go slide step, we're safe. He didn't spot us. So, just because I'm cool and composed doesn't mean I'm on edge. I'm actually very on edge. But I'm joking around to keep myself cool so I can maintain my own focus on what this game is. See, I leave, I'm safe. The guy respawns out, now he's in the tunnels. Let's reassess. Empty bottle, we have a sound distraction. We have everything set up, we still need the key. Remind ourselves, what are we doing? We head back out. Job's not finished. Just bought us a little bit more time to try to make sure our approach works. You can play a risk, but sometimes the risk, if it's too great and might be an all or nothing thing, if you genuinely don't have any other options, the all or nothing thing is the way to go. But if you can play it safe, go for it. But you don't always have to play it safe. You always take a risk and run with it. That's like a really good thing to keep in mind, that you don't always need to play things safe. Playing things safe, sure, you're playing things safe, but like it's not really exciting. It's not really scary, like, and that's okay. But I kind of forgot what I was talking about. I don't know. Kind of goofy little stuff. Just like, okay, cool. Little rat friends. Looking for Squint's key. So where is key? Key could be... Oh. We found the key. We couldn't get it earlier because we were discouraged by the rats. But now we have the comms key. Once we unlock the door at comms... Make sure our surroundings are safe because it's still in an animation. Ready the key, and we unlock it. You hear him move. We open. All we have to do is flick the switch and leave. You don't need to really loot the room or anything because there is a spawn here. Job's finished. Now we're on a new job. See how I changed my mind immediately because I just have to know where everything is. If the danger comes, I can just leave. Because there's two ways I could still hide. There's three ways I could hide. But I now have this thing set up so that when I do turn on the power, I have the code to do this. So what do you do in this specific scenario? Please hide. Now, this could be the end of the episode right here, and that is okay. But just because it is the end doesn't mean it's the end. See? Because I prevented myself from making more noise by reacting negatively to the situation, I kept calm, and they walked away because I didn't make noise. I changed how I reacted about the threat that was around me. I'm still trying to use my ears to hear around corners to prevent line of sight because I know that his vision is better than mine. Left. Yeah, left. Back. Around the corner. So we could still make good out of this situation. We know where the threat is. We can carefully approach the other side and unlock that lock we need to do. It will make noise, but we could still make our way back. this side, so let's just shortcut our way over. Now, we could create a noise in one area to lure him away from another, so let's do that. There's a couple of tripwires. Let's trigger one on purpose and then haul ass the other direction. So we have a grenade here. Let's trip it. He's gonna hear the explosion and he's gonna go into the tunnels to immediately search. Or, you know, ignore it completely because he wants to do something. We make our body profile much smaller. He's now away. Remember that there's no tripwires up to this point. We don't need to run. We need to wisely use the time we created for ourselves to get there safely. Minimizing noise as much as possible. We already know the layout. We don't need a light to see. Let's create some new scenario for us. I could die here. So let's ensure that the job is finished. You think this is silly, but this is actually a method. And with that, we have quietly broken a lock. We could use that same brick for another purpose because we know it didn't break, but because we used it a couple times, its durability might be a lot less. We have everything in this room. I do not believe there's any more resources in this room, but we have to come here for some daisy chains. We will leave. We will take the brick with us if possible, but if we must, we have to. It's a great multi-tool to have, a brick, but it's not necessary. You can always find another way. Not everything is set in stone. Things are set in sand. Here because we're here. Let's see if we could trigger the fire to respawn him, or you know, get ourselves killed. Fire has already been triggered. So we still have the sound trap. Let's be super careful. Make noise on purpose over here. Oh, most cases they would react. Oh yeah, he did react. It's breath. The way you know when he's in a hole is if you see an audible breath coming out, or a visual breath. Audible. Actually not in this area right now. As I say that, he came back. Behind me. Emerges, and now we leave. Job is technically done. So what do we do about this? Well, once over in this room. And now we leave. Reason why for once over, because I didn't remember or I wasn't sure that things were still back in that room. But that's perfectly fine. So now we go back to this, which now we forcibly respond to. So now is the time where we use our save so that we can ensure that whatever we risk to do, our all or nothing move, is saved. Meaning the limited resources we're going to consume is now going to be used. Let's just ensure our safety first. before we save, so that when we do respawn, if we die, it will be perfectly fine. Once you recognize that your save point is super close, you can be reckless until you choose to progress. Sometimes being reckless is the only way to learn because you don't understand the next few parts. That's fine. We're in here. The game tells us that we're safe. We have an empty bottle for company. Hello, Mr. Bottle. This guy has Pignard des Piloy. I don't know. Someone can teach me French. I think that'd be pretty cool. Love bread. French people are also cool. We exit back out, and then we go here. We take our gas can. So we go there to get a code, and we go there immediately back. We leave our important stuff here, not for movement speed's sake, but we do this so that if we could pick up anything while the light is still on, great. If we can't, oh well. So we get our fuel, save, and now we have our first save. I'm going to do a balls to the wall, haul ass from the generator room to the comms corner, get the code, and head back. And then we'll end the episode right there. So first, I'm going to take the pocket watch. I know I just said, oh, don't bring too many stuff, but the pocket watch actually tells you how much generator fuel you have left. The watch stresses you out because you're always aware of it. But you don't really need to have it out with you at all times. Just something to keep time that's according to how much fuel you have left. Let's go. Is our timer, which is a really weird timer that actually isn't synced up with real life time. Pretty strange. So we open our door and we start hauling it. While the power is on, you're free to make slightly more noise than usual. As long as it's not a gunshot or anything. Like that. So we're hauling. We're going. I actually have a lot more time than I think. But I want to maximize as much fuel as possible.
Anyone that the code is 3 1 4 7.
Now we have to go. Now we haul ass back. The reason why it didn't emerge is because the lights are on. That's perfectly okay. Oh, it's just an explosion. It's not gas. Oh, I forgot. So that was a good time. We used half of our fuel. It's a big reason why I said, oh, shit, man. That's a little scary. So, new plan. Because he's in the way of where our safe room is, and we have about 1 fuel can's worth of fuel left, we will run out of power. Let's play living until we can make something else happen. Of course, he'll be behind me. That's fine. Now, bear in mind, I'm actually really safe because I have the code. And I saved. But I still need to play around this because I still have to do this if I die. Cave, and now we move. Now, see, they're really smart. They're blocking the exit because they know that the power's gonna ring. So what do we do about this? Well, we got used to the dark. It's nothing new. So I dare you. Have fun. So we didn't bring our bottle, which is admittedly a mistake, but we didn't want to risk losing anything. Dying, well, you lose everything when you die, but you never know when you could pick up something useful that might be useful. So a fire trap here. He's roaming by the messengers. I have to mentally image the map in my mind so that I can remember where I am, where his footsteps are, check LOS blockers, and then see, we achieved one big thing using all of our resources available, and it is perfectly okay if our resources are expended because it still achieved the same purpose. Nothing was wasted in that encounter. It still accomplished the original goal of getting the arsenal full. And with that, that is step 1 of our million-step plan on how the hell we're going to escape it. But that's like the fun of it, because I like the idea of surviving impossible odds. So much so that I survived impossible odds. Because what if I planned around and adapted to my enemy? What if I thought different than my enemy? And what if I understood myself better than my enemy? We are not safe in here, and that is okay. We are safe in here. That is also okay. We will lock it here, and we will wait. I will attempt to go further to get another gas can, and then we can call it from there. And that is okay. Because I've been playing a little longer, but I'm actually having a lot of fun. I want to just do this, call this a long play episode. Minimal edits, and I will eventually condense them down after I decide to try my hand with editing. But I felt all of the information in this big block of video is still useful. So, yeah. We're walking. We're still safe. So now we can do one of two things. We can go unlock, or we can actually gather some more resources from the storage area, which is honestly best bet. But we still need to head to maintenance, which is difficult because we need minimum 2 to 3 rat distractions to actually get what we need, on top of a potential explosive. So we only have 2 rat distractions that are 1 use only. And we don't have a gun, and we don't have access to fire yet, which is okay. So, what are we going to do? I unlock the door, unlock the other door, because you never know. These things might delay your death slightly long enough to just peek around. I don't hear him. You don't want to rush around the corner, you want to kind of peek. The reason why I'm going back in here is just to remember that the demons that you know is better than the demons that you don't. At least that's a sentence I kind of stick with, because, well, I know the type of suffering I'm going through. I kind of prefer it because I know it, rather than what I don't know what I'm suffering against. Or if I'm even suffering at all. I don't believe that I'm suffering. This is suffering. This is just me playing a game. Break this now. There's nothing that spawned cool. And we break this thing. Let's put our watch up. It's kind of... Nothing spawned, but there is a chance that things can't spawn. Let's plan a bit ahead. Move this barrel over here, blocking one specific way. So let's start with Clements, 1165.
July, mid-afternoon.
Hey man, I'm the one talking. So he is a really funny Frenchman. Cool. So this is Au Clair. You might find his dog tag. Well, I actually don't even know where his dog tag is, but I know where the spawns for the corpses are. Which is a shame, because this guy has a med kit, which is useful, because we haven't gotten hurt yet. We don't want to be hurt. Being hurt slows us down. So, simply put, do not get hit. The monster's now here. Let's work our way around this. why I plan ahead like that, to ensure that I at least have something to defend myself against. Does that mean they retreat? No, but it creates a lot of noise and it desensitizes them to stick around. Walk away with my life intact. And then we do. Once you turn 2 corners, they pretty much lose you. Because now they can't guess where your last steps were. Let's bring a bottle because, well, we need a distraction on it. We still need to gather as much as we can from mission storage. Naval's thing isn't there, neither is Miller's, but we have the arsenal code. So we have 2 bullets. Great. What's our next step? We need to go to maintenance. Why? Because we need wrench that is there in mission storage, but we need to go to maintenance to get said wrench. Wrench's location is in this box up here, but we need to just get to maintenance first. Survey the area, gather what we can, come back and move. It's all about doing micro trips that add up to something better. So let's bring 1 rat distraction in order to get there. Because we don't have anything that sets stuff on fire yet. In order to remove rats out of the way, you use poison for the poison gas to kill the rats, or you burn the corpse altogether. Burning the corpse solves the problem, albeit at a significantly louder and slower duration, but the gas kills the rats that would be lingering nearby. We found a bandage. We know where it is. Perfect. Bottle. But you don't have to loot everything on your first go. You just have to know where things are if you can't carry them. Physics is good. Physics. This guy's room is a lot. Usually this room is pretty trapped. Like, always trapped or whatever. Notes. I'm just collecting the notes for the sake of collecting them. I already know what's on them. But I'm just kind of showcasing collectibles while I can, while I'm still bumbling around. So let's ensure that this stays closed by leaving this here. That's good. That's not going anywhere. Gas trap here. Explosive here, and this. Okay, cool. We have an explosive here. We can blow up the store, but we don't need to. But I will have it here just in case if that happens. Gas now. Because we want some in there so we can. This is someone we don't care about. We don't stop for anything. We created our entry and we move it. Welcome to maintenance. Maintenance is an easy area, but also really difficult because of all the crap on the floor. Very rarely there's a trap in here that is annoying, but the rats here are always dead. We now have 2 gas cans. One for the generator, one to save. We will leave these here because we know where they are. Let's also look at the map. So, the dog tag we need is in the pillbox, in the upstairs area, which actually kind of sucks. You save things and go back. I don't want to deal the area, but I want to ensure that I'm not making noise. And he went further down the way. That is fine. So in this case, I will drop both the gas cans here. Reason is because I know where they are. I'd rather keep them there than forget them. Dog tag. This is something we don't care about. This noise is a scripted noise. I do not believe it dampens any of the sound weights. Daisy chain here. Guaranteed spawn here with a weird hidey hole that doesn't make a lot of sense. So speaking here, there is no rats in there, which is cool, but there might be a fuse that spawns in there. We will come here later, but there is a way to break out. Where he is, just let's head up here. Dog tag, fart. The gas can. Sound trap. Notice it. Gas can and hide in. There's a risk we could die here. That is fine. The reason why we want to attract sound near us but not at us is to hopefully introduce the concept of, I already checked this area, I might leave it sooner. Which then the monster does attack. Which is fine. As long as we are more patient. We might go back in the tunnel. Further and further away. We will come back here for the fuel bottles and extra bottle, but we got what we came for. Let's leave for now, because that was a very close encounter and we have too much stuff that's fine. Let's go back for those 2 gas cans and then we will leave. So instead of having 1 gas can and a bunch of wasted progress, we may do with what we had because we weren't dead. Perfect. And now we come home with a net value of 3 gas cans. I still need to figure out something to do about that, but that's okay. The reason why I'm coming back in here is because I do wish to end the episode and to take a break. But this was fun for what it was. I genuinely liked doing this to start. I believe this game is super fun, despite how scary it is, and the scare is the important part of the game. And now, let's put both of these things. We will figure out how to designate the fuel later, but we have to use one to save. And that does it for this episode. Thank you everybody so much for watching. If you liked the video, please leave a like. Comment down below on what you believe that I should do next. I will make more and pick this up in a future date. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe I might do something different tomorrow. But whoever is with me for the ride, I am genuinely glad that you've chose to see what I'm doing. Because I like to info dump on the games that I talk about because I find them super intricate and interesting, and then I can make quicker, detailed guides and maybe consider streaming in the future. But one thing at a time. This entire thing. That is how we survived this long in Amnesia the Bunker, breaking down the overarching goal of staying alive by one step at a time. I hope this helps in some way, shape, or form, and I will see you when I see you. Bye. How the hell do I turn off the recording?